Jeff Slauson here from 19 News Now at the 19 News Digital Desk. We spoke with the Ohio Department of Transportation earlier today about a new initiative that is looking to help keep construction and work zones a lot safer. This has been a problem that's been growing, frankly, for the past 4 or 5 years since 2019. We've seen an increase in construction and work zone related injuries due to people crashing into them on the roads. One in particular I want to show you, which is a video that was released to us from a crash that actually happened last year. Watch the left-hand side of your screen. This is just outside of Akron at a construction zone. Yeah, that is a truck carrying cars exploding. This is one of many that we have seen. Now, in our area in particular, there are going to be 2 locations that are going to see increased patrols, both on the ground and on air. They're going to be using drones. They're going to be using patrol cars, all of this in an effort to try and make sure that you are staying safe. I'm going to play it for you one more time here. Again, watch the left-hand side of your screen. See the truck coming in, starts to lean a little bit. Oh, maybe it doesn't want to get off, and then boom. So unbelievably dangerous. This is the problem, and this is what the Ohio Department of Transportation and the Ohio State Highway Patrol are trying to combat. We spoke with Ohio Department of Transportation earlier today. Here's what they had to say. David, before we get into the initiative, I want to talk about kind of the Labor Day, Memorial Day to Labor Day, time frame here, when we're seeing a lot of those accidents on the roads, and particularly talk about that with construction workers and construction work that's happening. For those that are unfamiliar, explain why these times on the roads can be so dangerous and so deadly.
Yeah, so, between Memorial and Labor Day, we sort of, in the transportation law enforcement industry, we refer to it as 100 deadliest days. It's summertime. People are getting out of school. There is a lot of traveling. And I think what happens is that there's just more people on the road. They're traveling more miles. And unfortunately, that window of 100 days is not great for crashes, right? I can tell you that, specifically to work zone crashes, that since 2019, there have been nearly 26,000 work zone crashes. 99 of those were fatalities, and unfortunately, 9 of those included road workers. Now, it wasn't just in those 100 days, right? It's since 2019 all year. But with 500 active construction projects going on right now all around the state, and we're just ramping up construction and maintenance season. So we're still expecting another 950 work zones. So you're talking nearly 1,500 work zones at the peak and the height of maintenance and construction season. And I think when you couple that with more people traveling because of the summertime, the outcomes are not great. And so the effort, by Governor DeWine, our great partner over at the Ohio State Highway Patrol and at ODOT, is to save lives.
Yeah, so that naturally brings us into this initiative here. Explain to people exactly what this is and why it's important to make sure that there's a presence, that there's people that understand and know this is a construction area, you need to be careful.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that. We are working with the Ohio State Highway Patrol. We've already identified 10 work zones, active work zones right now that are major work zones. They're multi-year. Work zones are complex. And of course, with work zones, a speed limit is decreased. Unfortunately, you see that speed limit isn't being obeyed by drivers at all times. And so what the goal is to get some increased enforcement out there so that we can protect our workers, but also people need to realize protect themselves, because when there are crashes in work zones, especially these multi-year, there's concrete barriers most of the time, right? That it's the drivers of the vehicles themselves that are going to get injured. But unfortunately, like we just talked about, you had 99 fatalities since 2019, with 9 of those being, road workers.
Bringing in Ohio State Highway Patrol, making sure there's more of a presence here, is the hope that kind of raising awareness and raising visibility could make a massive change here. Oftentimes are we seeing these crashes because people are either ignoring the construction zone altogether or just maybe not seeing it? I mean, like, what's that main cause, and why do we feel like the increased visibility will help?
Well, when it comes to work zones, right, there are warning signs, as miles before, plenty of time for motorists and drivers to know, hey, you're going to be entering a work zone, especially those long-term, multi-year work zones. Unfortunately, speeding, distracted driving, following too closely, failure to control, those tend to be the top factors, unfortunately. And so for us, it's to save lives, the workers and the drivers. Now, on top of the enforcement as well, we just launched brand new Move Over campaign. We are incredibly excited about it. It features a real highway worker from ODOT, a real state trooper, a real firefighter, all showing them what their real lives are like outside of their jobs. So I think that's part of it. We have to, as a government agency, connect with people and let them know the realities. During the press conference, Governor DeWine invited two women to come speak, who both unfortunately and terribly lost. One lost a husband, and then another one lost a son. And to hear their stories, it's heart-wrenching, because these are real people out there doing work to protect and serve those who use the roads every day. And so we hope that with this new Move Over campaign, as well as coupled with the enforcement, we're going to see some declines, some decreases in crashes in work zones.
When we're at a point where we see this increase in accidents, we see this increase in construction related crashes and accidents and all of that, when do we need to, I guess, when does it become very much so known that an initiative like this is needed? Have we seen the numbers increase? Have we seen the numbers start to turn to even more so troublesome areas? What ultimately led to the point where we realized that this initiative was needed?
Sure. Well, I mean, just so you know, for several years now, ODOT, we have been taking action to make work zones safer. I'll give you a few quick things. We've piloted rumble strips in work zones. So that sound, everyone knows what that sound is when you go over a rumble strip. You inherently just slow down immediately. We've tried that. We use smart arrow boards. These things are super cool. They're out there. There's a lane closure. And this smart arrow board sends a signal to commercial truck drivers who have this, in-cab technology, to alert them several miles before, hey, there's a lane closure, please slow down, move over. We've done several other things, but this year, since January 1st, ODOT crews have been struck 46 times. You compare that to all of last year, it was 56. So you can see that this is absolutely a major issue, and we can't have this happening anymore. Our workers need to be safe, and we are just hoping that with the enforcement and the education, it's going to make a big impact.
One second.
Sure.
So those specific areas that were picked, we have two of them in our immediate area here. Why were they chosen, and what can people expect when they're driving through?
Sure. So, on the enforcement piece, of course, the State Patrol will have to kind of talk about that, but I will say specifically, these are multi-year major work zones, right? It's not like, hey, this is a paving project that's going to last a few weeks. This is, multi-year, major, several $1 million investment to upgrade this infrastructure. So these are work zones that are going to be there year after year that people are going to see. And within those types of work zones, you're going to have changes. If we're working on one side, sometimes we close a lane on that side, but we can still pull people over. We still have the shoulder right going on this side, so that you can still keep 2 lanes of traffic in each direction.
Yeah, so that's why this is so important. These are areas that are going to be seeing a ton of traffic, so you got to keep them safe. You got to stay aware. We're going to have much more on this story tonight on 19 News at 10 and 11. Of course, we have an article on our website at cleveland19.com. That's got the full list of all that stuff. But any questions, it'll be answered through there. Keep an eye out. If you're driving through a work zone and you're speeding, they will have a zero tolerance policy, and you will get a ticket. Again, much more tonight. 19 News, 10 o'clock to CW, 11 o'clock on CBS.
19